I've seen a lot of people not understand how the dashboard works or think that their numbers are wrong on their dashboard. Well, I want to make this video just to put everything to rest regarding dashboard misunderstandings and actual functionality that can be achieved using the dashboard in GoHighLevel. So let's open the dashboard right here. It's already here for us. The first thing I want to show you, because this is the most important, this is the one that people do not understand the most, or rather misunderstand the most. So this right here, I'm not sure what to call this. This is just the date property selector. So everyone knows or should know that this selector up in the top corner here allows you to select a date range off of which all this other data is based. So if I click on this selector here, you'll see status change, created on, updated on. Well, if you select status change, then for the month of July or June 22nd forward to July 22nd, anyone who has achieved or received the status change in the opportunities pipeline will show up here. So the person could have opted in 2 years ago, and if they changed in the pipeline, their status changed between won or lost or abandoned or open, any of those, they will show up here. So this includes people whose status changed, meaning anyone new. So anyone who opted in recently and appears an opportunity for the first time, that's considered a status change because they have a new status of open. There's also anyone who changed status to won or lost or abandoned in that time frame. So I could have opted in 2 years ago, you changed my status yesterday, and that falls within this date range. That means that I will show up on this in this data. So if you see 22 leads, total for this time period, and you don't have 22 leads, or that's way more than you thought you had, it's because you're going based off of status change. Created on is what you want to use for lead generation. So if you want to see how many new leads you've gotten, go by created on. That means that for this time period here, we have 12 new leads or opportunities, and they're all open. Okay, so none of them have reached a closed status yet, meaning won, lost, abandoned, and so they are all sitting in open, all the leads from the past month. Now, the final one we have here is updated on. Updated on is interesting because it doesn't just account for, or rather count status change, and it doesn't just account for or take into account new opportunities, created opportunities. It also takes into account pipeline stage change. So again, same principle applies as with status change, I believe, right? Status change? As with status change, and that is if somebody was, someone opted in 2 years ago, and you moved them along the pipeline, or you had an automation that moved them along the opportunity pipeline, they will appear on this screen. And that's why we have 47 here, as opposed to just the 22 on the status change, as opposed to the 12 of created on. It tends to, I won't say 100% because I'm sure there are exceptional cases. I don't really know what they might be, but there might be exceptional cases. Broad rule of thumb is created on is the most specific, status change is the second most specific, and updated on is the least. So you'll get more and more people, more and more opportunities as you go through those three statuses, or rather properties, the date properties. So with that in mind, all this other information changes too. So let's go back to created on just for simplicity's sake, because this is the data that most of the time you're going to want to see. Now, if you're talking about lifetime value, you're talking about lifetime, conversion time periods, average conversion time period, whatever tracking you want to do regarding conversions, that will be that'll be a use case for status change or updated on, something like that. But created on is really what your clients are interested in, is lead generation. It's the new people coming in over a given time period. So created on will show you everyone new for this date range. I don't know why that just happened. Let me see. Am I still working? Yeah, we're still working. Great. So for the funnel here, you'll see all the stages in your opportunity pipeline. My client here has added some kind of ridiculous stages here, but I like to keep things simple with maybe 4 stages depending on the business. Stage distribution, this is the same information as this funnel here. This is all based on your opportunity pipeline, and you can select which pipeline you're looking at here. This funnel shows you, the progression rate through your pipeline. It's going to taper off like a funnel naturally. You will never see it go the other way, obviously, because leads will not ever outnumber booked appointments and so on. This stage distribution just shows you where people are getting stopped up. So if you don't want a funnel view, this is a bit more conducive to looking at where people are getting stopped, where people maybe don't make it past a certain point, or where people are closed at a certain point. This will tell you that information. You can see your tasks here. So you can see, anything assigned to you or other users. Manual actions. This is a workflow step, an action step in workflows that allows you to stop the workflow and wait for a phone call. This is a feature of the Conversations tab. You click Conversations, Manual Actions. You'll reach a page with an auto dialer. And that auto dialer allows you to click Start Calls, and it'll just go one by one through your entire list of manual actions. Now, if we keep going, we'll see Lead Source Report. This Lead Source Report takes into account your sources based on your opportunity sources, I believe. If that's not correct, I will correct it in post, but I believe that is where these sources come from. There are some confusing overlaps in terminology between contacts and opportunities. Contact sources aren't necessarily opportunity sources, but just know that this takes into account your opportunity sources, and so you can see where people came from. This is your Google Analytics report. If you have a Google Analytics account attached through settings, integrations, you can take a look at those here, but just make sure that you have the right permissions and that someone signing in can actually see that data. I don't know if that's so much a problem with Google as it is Facebook, but just something to keep in mind. Now, this is all the default, by the way. This is default information based on what you see when you first create your account, when you first log into your sub-account and see the dashboard. Again, you see Facebook Ads Report, Google Ads Report. Now, you can also see, if you click Edit Dashboard, a bunch of other options under this Add Widget button. So, opportunity value, I don't like to use because people, it's really a manual. It's a manual data point. You have to fill it out every time you want to use it. So I like to get rid of that. So let's get rid of that just for now. And conversion rate, same thing. You can really just sort of see that at a glance with your funnel and stage distribution. But you know what? I'll leave that because it is useful information. I will get rid of stage distribution just because the funnel view really takes care of most use cases there. Ooh, let's put this guy back. Oh boy, it's very sensitive. Come on, here we go. Ooh. Okay, final answer. So let's take a look at the widgets here. So there are widgets based on just numbers like this conversion rate, based on new leads. So say you want just a nice big number, it just shows your new contacts. Let's go to contacts, count of contacts. So we'll do date property, created on, and then dashboard date range, that's fine. You can override the date range, so say you want only over the past month, you'll see, this month, past month, last month. That'll be the previous month, past 30 days, if I can find it. Anyway, my point being you can change the time period if you don't want it to adjust with this date range selector. But honestly, I leave that alone because the date range selector is pretty intuitive. And if you start editing the date range selector to look at different data and this number doesn't change, it might be confusing to you, the client, whoever's editing things. So let's just use the dashboard date range. Now, we can use a comparison date range as well. So if you want to see how many people you've gotten, let's just say year before, and I'll show you what that looks like. So we've got contacts count, new leads. All right, because most accounts contacts are just opportunities. There's not really a detachment between who's a contact and who's an opportunity. Sometimes you'll have, people who aren't leads in your contacts, but that's very rare, at least in my experience. So look, we have 76 new leads. Let's X out of this. And we'll do for the let's do, all right, so I've set something up here that does not use that option there. New leads, count of contact, created on dashboard date range. So I guess we've had 78 new contacts show up in this account, but not new opportunities. So what that tells me is there are people coming in but not going to opportunities. So you can also use this to troubleshoot your workflows, being that if someone's coming in through a workflow or someone's coming in through a Facebook form or something and not going into a workflow, they'll appear as a contact but not an opportunity. So that might be something good to know, like right here. Now let's take a look at some other options. Let's look at appointments. So let's say you want to go by, if you're doing, coaching program, you'll do consults. So we'll do confirmed appointments count of appointment. Let's do created on dashboard date range. Okay, let's save that. Confirmed appointments. Now this doesn't let you select the calendar, so let's see what other options there are for appointments. Appointments. There are a lot of options in all these categories, really. There is no shortage of analytics that you can access. Upcoming appointment for next week. Upcoming appointments canceled, no show. So let's go by group. I think by group, in most cases, will allow you to see what you need. So by group means if I click on advanced, this is showed appointment. Let's delete this. We can go by, by group. Oh, here we go. Dashboard date range, that's fine. Created on, booked for, there we go. And then no comparison, that's fine. Group, we want to pick, you can go based on user. And look, we can now see which users have booked which appointments. So we see Alex has booked 6, Tanya has booked 2, and if this is something that you use to coach your staff on sales or keep track of your staff on sales initiative, then this would be useful for you. Let's take a look at other widgets. I'm just playing around here now. Visitor data, you can look at who's visiting your website, but that's really available in the Google Analytics anyway. You can do number of calls, again, for taking care of sales training or looking at initiative. Maybe you want to do like a scoreboard and you want to keep your employees, in a playful competition regarding phone calls and consults if you're doing coaching or something else. You can use this data to not only see who's doing what work, you can use it to encourage or boost morale and use it to see how you can balance workload. If, say, someone's taking on a bunch of calls, maybe someone else can take some work off of their shoulders in another area of your business or your client's business. So this is really everything I wanted to show you with the dashboard. Let's see if there are any other, there really aren't any other widgets that are super important to show you. Maybe total revenue if you're integrated with Stripe. But again, this is on a case-by-case basis. This is really just dependent on who your clients are, what kind of businesses they run, and what data they care about. Now, I would encourage you to do your research if you don't know already what's important to your clients as far as, in their industry, what data is important to keep track of. But I would just encourage you to, as an agency owner, guide your clients so that they feel supported, so that they feel good about paying you for your services, and so that at the end of the day, everyone feels good about the business relationship that you have, and you get to retain your clients for longer and increase your lifetime value, because that's what it's all about in agency anyway, is increasing lifetime value. How do you do that? Provide more value to your clients. I hope you found this video helpful, and if not, write me an angry email or something, or write me an angry comment and just put me on blast. But I believe you'll find this helpful, and I hope you have a good one. See you in the next video.